Let me ask you something personal. You're sitting in your car right now. Or maybe you just got out of it. And somewhere in the back of your head, you know exactly what that car costs you every single month. Maybe it's $500. Maybe it's $700. Maybe you've crossed $1,000. And every time that payment hits your account, you tell yourself the same thing. It's fine. It's just a car payment. Everyone has one. Yeah, that's exactly the problem. Everyone has one. And it's quietly destroying more wealth than almost any other financial decision you will ever make in your life. Today, we're talking about the car payment trap, what it actually costs you, why the math is way more brutal than the dealership ever told you, and what to do instead. Let's start here. You know that feeling when you walk into a dealership or you're scrolling cars online at midnight and you find the one. You know the one I mean. The color is right, the features are right, it smells like possibility. And then the salesperson does the thing that salespeople always do. They stop talking about the price of the car and they start talking about the monthly payment. It's only $748 a month. Only $748. Here's the thing. That number is not an accident. Dealerships have known for decades that the human brain processes monthly payments very differently from lump sums. When you hear $49,000, something in your chest tightens. When you hear $748 a month, your brain goes, oh, that's like a gym membership. It's the same money, presented differently, and it works every single time on almost everybody. So let me give you the actual numbers because we're not doing feelings today. We're doing math. According to Experian's State of the Automotive Finance Market Report for Q3 2025, the average new car monthly payment in America right now is $748. The average new car price has hit a record $49,814 according to Kelley Blue Book data from November 2025, and the average loan term, 69 months, nearly 6 years. 1 in 5 new car buyers, 20%, are now paying over $1,000 a month for their vehicle. 1 in 5. That is not a niche problem. That is a mass financial event happening in slow motion across this entire country. Now you might be sitting there thinking, okay, but I need a car. I need reliable transportation. You're not wrong. This video isn't about telling you not to own a car. I want to be clear about that. This is about showing you exactly what a car payment actually costs you. Not just the monthly number, but the total real cost that nobody puts on the sticker, and then giving you a smarter path, because there is one. There's always one. Let me tell you about Marcus. 26 years old, works in sales, earns about $55,000 a year, smart guy, financially aware, or so he thought. 2 years ago, Marcus leased out of his old paid-off Honda Civic and financed a new SUV, $43,000, 72-month loan, 7% interest. His payment came out to $713 a month. His insurance went up by $212 a month because the lender required full coverage. So right there, before gas, before maintenance, before anything, Marcus is spending $925 a month just to have that car. On a $55,000 salary, after taxes he's taking home maybe $3,800 a month. That one car is consuming almost a quarter of his entire take-home income every single month. And here's what made it worse. Marcus knew he was spending more. He just didn't feel it as one number. He felt it as separate line items. Car payment here, insurance there, gas over there. The brain doesn't naturally add those together. It processes them as individual, manageable expenses. That's the psychological trap working exactly as designed. So what does a car payment actually cost? Let me walk you through the real math because this is where it gets genuinely alarming. Take $748 a month. The current average new car payment, according to Experian, over a standard 72-month loan that's $53,856 in payments. On a car that probably sticker priced somewhere around $49,000. So you're already paying more than the car costs before you account for a single dollar of interest. But then add the interest. At 7% over 70, 2 months you're looking at roughly $11,000 in total interest charges. So the real cost of an average new car financed the average way, before insurance, before gas, before a single oil change, is somewhere around $60,000. For a car that will be worth maybe $12,000 to $15,000 by the time you've paid it off. And that depreciation piece. People underestimate it every single time. New cars depreciate approximately 30% in the first 2 years according to Kelley Blue Book analysis. 30%. So you drive that $49,000 car off the lot today, and 18 months from now it's worth maybe $34,000. But you still owe $41,000 on the loan. That's called being underwater. And according to data from Cox Automotive, a meaningful portion of car buyers are underwater on their loans right now, owing more than the car is worth. So you can't sell it, you can't trade it without bringing cash to the table, and you're locked into that payment. The trap closes. Now I want to show you the number that should actually change how you think about this. Because the price of the car and the interest rate, those are the obvious costs. The hidden cost is the opportunity cost, the wealth you are not building while that money goes to a car payment every month. Dave Ramsey put this plainly on his radio show, and I think it's worth repeating. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, take $500 a month, and instead of putting it toward a car payment, invest it from age 30 to age 70. You will have over $5 million, $5 million, from not having a car payment. Now that's using a historical market return assumption, and your situation will vary, but the core math is undeniable. Money going to a depreciating asset every month is money that isn't compounding for you. And compounding is the single most powerful force in personal finance. Let me make this even more concrete. If instead of financing that average new car, you took the $748 monthly payment and invested it for 10 years in a broad market index fund averaging 7% annually, which is a conservative long-term estimate, $130,000, the car you were going to buy, after 10 years of driving it, depreciation, and wear, it might be worth $8,000 to $12,000. So the true cost of choosing the financed new car over the investing alternative isn't just what you paid. It's the $120,000 wealth gap that opens up between you and the person who made a different decision. That is the car payment trap in its purest mathematical form. And here's what makes this even more frustrating. This isn't a problem that's getting better. It's getting dramatically worse. According to data from Edmunds, in Q4 2025, a full 20.8% of new car buyers chose loan terms of 84 months or longer, 7 years. Think about that. 7-year car loans are now the choice for more than 1 in 5 buyers. Why? Because the car is so expensive that the only way to make the monthly payment feel manageable is to stretch it across as many months as possible. And when you stretch a loan over 7 years, 2 things happen simultaneously. You pay an enormous amount in interest, and the car depreciates far faster than you pay down the principal. You are almost guaranteed to be underwater for years. This is not a fringe situation anymore. This is mainstream American car buying in 2025 and 2026. Let me address something because I know what some of you are thinking right now. You're thinking, okay, but I need a reliable car. I can't just drive a beater. My job depends on transportation. What am I supposed to do? Here's the thing. Nobody is telling you to drive an unsafe car or sacrifice reliability. The question isn't whether to own a car. The question is what kind of car and how to pay for it. And this is where the actual strategy lies. The single most powerful move you can make in your car buying life is to buy a 2 to 3-year-old used car with cash, or as close to cash as possible. Here's why this works. New cars lose about 30% of their value in the first 2 years according to Kelley Blue Book depreciation data. So a $49,000 new car becomes roughly a $34,000 used car in 24 months. You are buying that same car, same make, same features, same reliability in most cases, for 30% less just by letting someone else absorb the initial depreciation hit. That is not a sacrifice. That is smart math. According to Experian, the average price for a used car as of late 2025 is around $25,000. Still not cheap, but the difference in a monthly payment between a $49,000 financed new car and a $25,000 used car, even if you do finance the used one, is significant. And if you can pay cash, even partially, you eliminate the interest entirely. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, the total cost of owning and operating a vehicle runs Americans more than $12,000 per year on average in 2024. The goal isn't to get to zero transportation cost. It's to get that number as low as possible while maintaining reliability, and then direct everything you save toward actual wealth building. Now here's a practical framework for thinking about car spending that will save you more money over your lifetime than almost any other financial rule you follow. Total transportation costs, your car payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, should not exceed 15% of your take-home pay. That's the ceiling. Most financial planners put the actual ideal somewhere between 10 and 15. So if you take home $4,000 a month, your maximum total car costs are $600 a month, all in, not just the payment, everything. If your current situation is eating more than 15% of your take-home, you are being slowly eaten alive by your car, and you may not even feel it because it came for you gradually. And this brings up something I want to talk about: the psychology of why we keep doing this even when we know better. Because most people who have a $700 car payment are not unaware that money is tight. They know, they feel it, but somewhere between knowing and doing is a gap that the car industry, and honestly the entire consumer credit industry, has gotten very good at exploiting. There's a concept here that psychologists call present bias. Basically, our brains are wired to prefer immediate gratification over future reward. The pleasure of the new car, the smell, the features, the status signal, the feeling when you pull up somewhere. That's immediate and vivid. The compounding wealth you're giving up over the next 20 years is abstract and distant. Your brain literally doesn't feel the future cost the way it feels the present pleasure. The dealership is not selling you a car. They are selling you a feeling. And they've optimized every inch of that experience. The showroom, the test drive, the monthly payment framing, the limited time offer, to override your rational financial self with your emotional, immediate self. This is also why so many people get a car they can technically afford month to month, but can't actually afford in terms of their financial future. Dave Ramsey made a point on The Ramsey Show that I think lands hard. He said, quote, "Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. And when you give it away to Ford Motor Company in the form of payments, you cannot invest steadily. It's almost impossible mathematically." Think about that phrase, almost impossible mathematically. He's not saying it's hard emotionally. He's saying when you run the numbers on trying to build real wealth while simultaneously sending $700 or $800 a month to a car lender, the math does not work. The numbers don't add up. You cannot earn a series of bad vehicle decisions over a lifetime. And the data backs this up in a way that's hard to ignore. According to Federal Reserve data cited by CBS News, auto loan delinquency rates hit their highest level since 2010. According to Axios reporting on data from Fitch, as of January 2025, 6.6% of subprime auto borrowers were at least 60 days past due, the highest level since Fitch began collecting that data. According to Cox Automotive's chief economist Jonathan Smoke, quote, "There's no room for error. These are not people who made reckless decisions. Many of them financed what felt like a reasonable car at a reasonable payment, and then life happened. A job change, a medical bill, an interest rate they didn't fully understand. And suddenly the car that was supposed to be manageable became the thing destroying everything else." So let me give you 3 things you can do right now. Actual steps, not abstract advice. First, run your real number. Open your bank app or your budget right now. Add up your car payment, your insurance, your average monthly gas, and a rough monthly estimate for maintenance. Divide that total by your take-home monthly pay and multiply by 100. That's your transportation percentage. If it's above 15, you have a problem that needs to be addressed. Not panicked about. Addressed. Calmly. With a plan. Second, if you're upside down on a current car loan, meaning you owe more than it's worth, stop upgrading. I know this sounds obvious, but the number of people who roll negative equity from one car loan into the next is staggering. Every time you do that, you're adding the underwater amount to the new loan. You're financing a ghost, paying for a car you don't even own anymore. If you're underwater, the strategy is simply stay in the car, pay it down aggressively until you have equity, and then sell or trade without rolling negative equity into anything new. Third, if you're thinking about a car purchase in the next 12 months, start a dedicated car fund today. Not a car payment fund, a car fund. Every month, put away what you would have paid in a car payment into a high-yield savings account. In 12 months, you'll have somewhere between $6,000 and $9,000 in cash, depending on your payment amount. That cash changes your options completely. You can buy reliable used transportation outright, or use it as a down payment large enough that your loan is small, short, and cheap. The goal is to get to the point where you are making car decisions from a position of financial strength rather than monthly payment math. Look, I understand that for a lot of people, especially in the United States where public transit is limited and distances are real, a car is not optional. You need one. That's not the debate. The debate is whether you need the one you currently have or the one you're thinking about getting at the price and payment you're considering. And whether the answer to that question is yes or no, you deserve to make that decision with the full picture. Not the monthly payment framing the dealership hands you, but the actual total cost, the actual opportunity cost, and the actual impact on your financial life 10 and 20 years from now. Because here's the honest truth. The people who build real wealth over their lifetimes are almost never the people with the nicest cars in their 30s. They're the people who made boring transportation decisions for a decade while everyone else was making flashy ones. They drove the paid-off car. They bought the 3-year-old used sedan. They put the difference into index funds and retirement accounts and emergency savings. And a decade later, when everyone around them was still making car payments, they had options. Real financial options. To change jobs, start businesses, weather unexpected expenses, retire earlier. The car payment trap doesn't just cost you money. It costs you freedom. And freedom is worth a lot more than new car smell. Your homework this week. Run your transportation percentage. Write it down. If it's over 15, write down one specific thing you're going to do about it. Not a vague intention. A specific action. Maybe it's calling your insurance company for a lower rate. Maybe it's making one extra principal payment on the car loan this month to get ahead of depreciation. Maybe it's committing to not upgrading when the current loan is paid off. Whatever it is, write it down, make it specific, and make it this week. And if this video helped you see your car situation differently, drop a comment below. Tell me your transportation percentage. Tell me your plan. This community shows up for these conversations and someone else needs to read yours. Subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you in the next one.